This is welcome back to episode 5 of Young Bucks. Today we're joined by Hunter Sutter. Got a few good topics we're going to get into. I'll let Hunter introduce himself now.
So yeah, I'm Hunter. I'm just at Auckland University doing commerce, doing bits of things on the side, and yeah.
Do you want to lean a little bit closer to the mic?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Save the sound, man.
Awesome. I guess first topic, we'll get into a bit of background about Hunter. You studied at Dilworth.
Mm-hmm.
You were there for how long? How long was it?
8 years.
8 years. Quite a long time.
Yeah.
Just starting tertiary now. My first question to you is, you spent last year out of high school, just trying to find your own way through the world, same as I did. What would you suggest for someone else in the same boat as you when you came out of high school? Is there a rush to get straight into tertiary or straight into anything?
I think you got to really look at what you want to do, really, and if you don't know, then you've got to spend that time to really explore and maybe travel and then. Well, there's always that rush. I think people always go from high school straight to university because that's sort of just the easiest thing to do and it's what everyone else does. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing to take some time to develop and learn what you want to do.
Yeah. What was your big lessons that you learnt last year, spending time out of high school?
Well, I went straight from high school to university.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And but I think looking back, I do wish I took a year off now. But what I did actually learn a few things that last year. I sort of realised that I did rush it, I think. So I'm going to take things a little bit slower this year.
Yeah.
See where my groove is, see what's going to work for me, and go from there.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Sorry about that. I remember you interning with us at Unfiltered, and I thought you were just on a bit of a gap year. But no, that's cool.
That was break, right?
That was uni break.
Yeah. I think I just want to touch on something you said there. I think I agree that jumping into university or jumping into the workforce or jumping into anything you're not ready for, I guess, or I don't want to say ready, maybe prepared for, can be a mistake. But, I think all three of us in this room are in a very privileged position to say that. And there's a lot of people out there, a lot of young people that I grew up with and Grayson knows, and you probably know, that don't have the luxury of I guess the luxury of opportunity and time that we have. What do you say to them?
I think you got to really... Well, see, we did come from great schools. We all went to good schools, but what was unique about...
Questionable for us.
West Side.
Well, for me, Dilworth was great, where you had a lot of those people who were disadvantaged, myself included, and you're all sort of on the same level, on the same playing field. And Dilworth just gave you the resources and opportunity to really grow, and if you took the opportunities well and you did what you wanted to do, you could take so much out of it. And yeah, I know I've always said that whatever the life you're born into doesn't necessarily mean what your life's going to be like. You make the decisions for your life.
So for old Johnny, who's living in rural town, local farm school, there's only 10 people there, he can't go to any other school, and parents want him to take over the school farm, but he wants to be a musician. What do you say to him?
If that's what he's passionate about, that's what he's got to do. It's quite simple, actually.
How do you do that, though?
How do you do that? Reach out to people. I reached out to a lot of people when I was in year 12. Actually, I started in year 12, and it's where you meet the Jakes and the Carmen Vasiliches and all of that, and you meet those people who just inspire you, and then if they're willing to mentor you, then you're able to continue and grow, and they can open doors for you. So I think, the Johnny in the town would have to reach out.
Where does the confidence come from? You've got a lot of confidence. You've got a lot of...
You think?
Well, I think you do. I think you do. I think you've got a lot of confidence. You've got a lot of self-drive, a lot of self-belief. Not many people at age 16, 17 are reaching out to international multi-million-dollar business people going, hey, can I come and learn from you? And then being able to persuade them to actually say yes. I think that takes a lot of drive and a lot of energy, and something to be very proud of. Where does that come from?
I've always wanted to be able to live a meaningful life, and
so I'm just going to stop you right there. Meaningful, very, buzzword in a sense. What does that actually mean to you?
Well, it means to me being able to do what I want to do that I love, and being also able to help other people. So I'm all about trying to inspire other people any way I can. And so to me, living a meaningful life is about doing what I love, what I'm passionate about, helping others grow and be the best they can be. That's what it means to me.
We both had, all three of us actually, had very privileged education experiences through the education system. If you could change one thing about the education system, what would it be?
Probably the exit, when you exit high school. I think they give you the book and say the career, and then you're going to do this. It's very limited. I'd like to see an education platform where entrepreneurship's a lot more promoted and looked at and thought about by people. I think we're getting there, but it's still not as good as it could be. I think if you look at the States and that, I think it's a much bigger drive for that. But and here in New Zealand, it's not as big of a thing.
What are two things you think the education system didn't prepare you for in life?
Didn't prepare me for the real world living. So, taxes and all that sort of stuff. I was lost when it came to that.
Yeah.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
We're all on the same boat there.
Yeah. And the second thing would probably be how to have good connections with people, like on a relationship level with colleagues, and then that's something.
Real one-to-one relationship, right?
Yeah.
Not
Long-term.
It's not, hey, let's catch up for a coffee and talk about shit.
Yeah.
Let's have dinner and talk about real life.
Let's have a good chat.
How are you? Not how are you doing in a fake sense, but how are you actually doing, right? We talked about that. Grayson, what do you think? If you could fix one thing in the education system, what would it be?
I think in high school, it's very much merit-based, right? So when you're in high school, you're doing a science class. If you don't get your excellence, you're looked at as not bright in science, right? But there's the quote by Albert Einstein, I think it was, is that if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll live its life thinking that it's dumb. And I think for me personally, towards the end of year 13, I probably went to about 10 classes in the last probably 4 or 5 months of year 13, just because I just was not passionate about those classes. I had no reason to stay. My credits were all ticked off in other subjects. I had my own things to do, and I think what Henderson did very well, it was allowed me to pursue business and allowed me to pursue mechanical engineering and technology. So I think being able to adjust the system to allow all kinds of people to succeed. I reckon that's. But then that's quite hard to do at scale.
Yeah, I would.
Very hard.
I'd almost disagree with both of you, in the sense that I wouldn't. If I could change one thing, it'd be probably neither of those. I'm very cautious and very hesitant to say that I would want entrepreneurship to be taught and heavily encouraged in high schools. I think there's a place for it, but I'm also very cautious about giving people, I don't want to say false hope, but the idea that entrepreneurship is easy and that it's an easily, university, great. Universities, it's not. It's hard. It's difficult. Don't get me wrong. It is very difficult. Entrepreneurship is university on steroids. It's the hardest thing you'll ever as a young person, as a 20-year-old, it's probably going to be one of the hardest things you'll ever do, right? And that's that social acceptance, social pressures, all these things. And I think making it a very common subject in high school and very, pushing people in that direction, I think can be quite dangerous. On your sense, maybe agree a little bit more. I think if there's anything, and I can see Omar's watching. Omar, what do you think entrepreneurship in high school? Do you think it should be taught or not? I know you're big in that space, so I expect to hear a message from you. If I could change anything from my education experience at high school, it's having the ability to understand and discover who I am before I learn anything. Because, I was one of those kids. I took science because I thought, I better keep my options open. Or I pursued math because I was good at it. But I never really took the time to sit back and fully understand me to allow me to pick the right thing I wanted to do. Similar to what you said, we were very fortunate that we were given the opportunity to pursue kind of what we wanted, and we were given a bit more leeway than probably a lot of people. Yep. But there was still the element of we had to go out and chase that. I think an education system where people from the beginning are taught to discover themselves, to then discover their passion, their superpower, and chase that, I think will change. Excuse me, I drank too much water. Will change the way our young people are educated around the world. I think it'll change the world.
It takes a lot of time to find yourself, though, right? Like
it does.
When do
you start that journey? If not at high school, when? By the time you've left high school, you're so engulfed in all this shit that is the real world. You never get a chance. So if you don't start there, when?
I think it's a lifelong thing, to be honest. I think.
But when do you start?
I think you start from when you sort of realise that that's sort of what you like doing, and it starts there. It doesn't have a definitive time.
Okay, good. Grayson and I were talking about this yesterday. At what point does shit get real?
Yeah.
At what point does that light bulb switch in your head and you go, holy fuck, this is real life? When has that hit you? And when? If it has.
I don't think it has hit me yet. I think I know it's coming. I think like universities, I call it like a holding cell, really, for that transition from boy to man or girl to woman. And I think it's it'll be different for everyone. I think whatever your life, however it's planned out, however you go, whatever that journey looks like. And I think personally, it'll probably be when I leave uni. I think that's when I'll know, okay, I'm not in a safe space anymore. I've got to get shit done. I've got to do this. I've got to look after myself. I've got to survive.
I think it's one of those things you don't know it's going to hit you until it hits you, right?
Yeah.
Has it hit you, Grayson?
I don't think it's really hit me yet. To be honest,
we baby you all the time, eh?
Well, I think one of the biggest things about growing up and when shit starts to get real is a lot to do with money. We've had a good past year. I know I've personally had a good past year where there wasn't many times where I was like, oh shit, how am I going to pay for that? I think when you get out of uni and you got this debt and you're starting to try save money for a house and try save for this and that, and you're like, how the hell do I pay for my next round of fitness? How the hell do I pay for this internet bill? I think that's when there's this like next level of holy shit, it's real.
Yeah. I don't know if it's hit me. I'd like to think it has, but I don't think it's really hit me and I've gone, holy shit, I'm not in training wheels.
Yeah.
This is it. Because we're still very fortunate in the sense that I'm very fortunate in the sense that if shit hit the fan, I go home. At the end of the day, I go home to mum. I've got a fallback. End of the day, we've got a fallback. I think shit gets real when that fallback disappears. Whether it be parents passing or, for whatever reason that doesn't happen, or you've moved overseas and you can't get back, or for whatever reason, it's whenever that fallback leaves, shit gets real.
The safety net's gone.
Right?
That's what you mean.
Safety net, right? So then my follow-up to that is, we talked a bit about this just before, is most cultures around the world have some form of recognition from that transition from boy to man or girl to woman, right? To adulthood. At what point, New Zealand, the Jewish community, they have the bar mitzvahs. There's a number of traditions around the world. We've got nothing, traditionally. Western society, Western culture, specifically New Zealand, we've got nothing. At what point do you become an adult? At what point is it when the shit hits the fan and you're like, holy shit, my safety net's gone?
Yeah, I think it'll just hit you out of nowhere before you realise, is what I think.
So at what point do we recognise adulthood?
I think when you got to start paying the bills, paying rent, stuff like that, when you got to actually look after yourself, or maybe it's when you've got a kid, or I don't know, that's a real...
Once you start getting autonomous, I think that's kind of when shit gets real.
Yeah.
You think that's adulthood autonomy?
To a degree, I think it's definitely one part of it. I think if you get put in a foreign flat or a house in, say, Browns Bay, have no friends, no family to give you money, this, no that, and you go to work, you got to do shopping, you got to pay bills, you got to do your taxes, you got to go to work, and you can do that every single day, week on week, year on year. I think there's a level of autonomy to that, and that's kind of the part of it.
It's interesting. I know people that are autonomous. Don't know if I'd call them an adult. I think they're old enough to be considered an adult, 18 years or 20 years or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if their maturity level is an adult. It's interesting because it's a very fine line that I don't think we've really talked about as a society. Is at what point do we recognise our young people are now adults? I see you as an adult. We talked about this just before over lunch. I see you as an adult. There's probably people in the workforce that don't see you as an adult, that still see you as a child.
Oh, yeah, it would be, definitely.
Is adulthood, is it a switch you flick in your own mind and go, I'm an adult now? Or is it a perceivement thing that other people need to see you as an adult in order to be recognised as an adult?
I think, mentally you got to, flick that switch and go, okay, I can't...
So it's an internal thing as opposed to an external thing?
I think so, yeah. Well, I think it's both, actually. I think they both have a balance.
And your switch is flicked or not yet?
No.
Right, so you still think of yourself as a child, as a boy as opposed to a man?
And a balance, I guess.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with
in
that.
some
line,
aspects, sometimes it's like a professionalism, but then I can have fun at the same time and be a kid, almost like that style. I think it's sort of finding that healthy balance.
Why do teenagers and young 20s get shunted out of big conversations, heavy-hitting conversations about money and relationships as if they don't know anything?
Drugs and sex and porn and all that shit that people are like, oh, you're too young, you don't need to worry. Oh, you're only 20, you don't need to worry about taxes, and you don't need to worry about this, and you don't need to worry about that. And yeah, why is it that you're right? Why are we shunned out of these conversations?
Well, you also look at that with the voting age as well, and that's a good, that's something that's been coming up in the media a lot recently with the election coming. Is should we bring that down, the age limit down?
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
What age do you think it should be?
I think 16, 17 is not a bad...
I'm on par with that.
Do you think 16 and 17-year-olds have enough knowledge of the political system to be able to vote accordingly? Or do you think they'll
I think
go?
there's a
Or
lot
do you
of
think they'll just go?
18,
Oh, blue looks nice.
I think there's a lot of 18, 20-year-olds that don't even know what is
I
happening
think
at this,
16, if 16 and 17-year-olds were allowed to vote, I think the parties would make an effort to help them understand what they're voting for. Because it's a huge part of the system. They're a huge chunk of the voting party. And if you can teach them what they are voting for and what you offer,
But
why would you miss out on that
Do you
market?
think they, like, as a young... If me as a 16-year-old, I just want the one who's going to give me the nicest opportunity. Or not that, I'm not thinking down the line going, this person's solving X issue or Y issue. I just want my problem to be solved right now, right? Which is, I can't find a job. Or, I want to make it easier for me to get my license earlier so I can drive my nice fancy car. Or, I want burnouts to be possible. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a real thing there, right? Or I want to be able to smoke weed and not get in trouble. That's what the 16-year-old's thinking. And to be fair, the 20-year-old's probably thinking that. And that's another question: is that you should be allowed to vote when you're an adult. So how do society from your opinion, how does society perceive you to be now an adult and not a boy?
I think once you leave school and you're in university, that's when people look at me as an adult now, and they see you in a suit or something. You're an adult now.
So that's hard then, right? I didn't go to university. Grayson didn't go to university. Does that mean we become an adult quicker, or it takes longer for us to be perceived an adult?
I would say it takes longer, to be honest, because you're doing your thing, you're finding yourself and whatnot. And I think some of the older people don't really understand that. Maybe. I don't know, maybe not. But
do you think it's important for us to position ourselves in such a way that we come across as adults, mature adults?
I think there's times when you have to be professional and show and put up that sort of idea or that around yourself that you're an adult and you're professional in certain situations.
What do you think, Grayson?
Yeah, I think there's some times where you have to be professional. If you're going in for a job, you got to be professional on a level that shows that you have enough responsibility and enough level-headedness to show you can do the job right. You're wasting their money, their time, if you're acting like a kid, as per se.
Okay, my follow-up to that is, what does professionalism look like?
Different in all industries, right? Being an unfiltered professional is being able to talk about business and the next big marketing tactic you're going to do. But being in the trades, talking professional and being professional is showing up on time and working for it to a high standard, I guess. So I think it'll change.
But that's the same across, right? Working unfiltered, you've got to work to a high standard and turn up on time. What does professionalism mean? That's words thrown around a lot, right? Is our young people aren't professional. Yeah. They don't have professionalism in their work. Like, my grandparents love to say that sort of stuff is, professionalism this, professionalism that. You young people, you don't have pride in your work. You don't understand, rah, 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 rah. What is professionalism? For a young person listening, how do they equip themselves to be professional when they're leaving school?
I think for me, I'm in different environments all the time. So like I can be... At times I've been sitting in the Prime Minister's office, and you got to have that sort of professionalism. You got to adapt to different environments. And like Friday was a great example. I was at a state funeral for a former Prime Minister, and the minute I left, I went out to town on Friday with my mates and that. So you sort of just really gotta know when you gotta be your best version of yourself and that.
Is that dangerous? Taking that exact example? You're professional in the morning, and you've got to be able to... being able to flick between those modes so quickly, that's got to be dangerous for a young person. Being forced to change that quickly.
I think you just got to balance it, really. Like, in different environments and different situations that you're in. If you're going for a job interview, you want to show off your best version of yourself. So you're going to dress nice, you're going to talk properly, you're gonna, have that right aura about you, and I think it's important to have a balance. I'm not sure if there's whether it's bad or not. I don't know. I'm only just going off what I do, and I'm going from different situations, meeting different people, and I'm still myself. I'm just a professional version of myself.
Yeah.
Like I don't change who I am or my humour or what I'm like, but just how I act or how I am.
But that's changing yourself, right?
Well, it's changing yourself to suit the situation, but still morally.
So
and
give me an
Yeah.
example between sitting in the Prime Minister's office and out in town on a Friday night with the boys. How does Hunter change to suit the situation?
So one, you're in the Prime Minister's office, so you sort of got that like, okay, shit, like, this is serious.
You can swear, don't worry.
And then going to town is just like you're with your boys to relax, have fun, get loose a little.
So what changes? Is it, the way you speak? Is it, maybe in the Prime Minister's office you're using more proper English? Like what?
Yeah.
Because the only reason I ask is because I struggle, right? Because I'm the same. If you see me in town, or if you see me at the office, or if you see me in the Prime Minister's office, I'm the exact same person. I'm friends with a couple of the ministers and all these. I'll talk to them in the exact same way I talk to Grayson. I'll walk in, I'll be like, yo, what up, motherfucker? What's happening?
Yeah.
Let's get moving, groovy. Like, I'm the exact same person because I'm just like, fuck it. You don't like it? Too bad. I don't care.
Yeah.
There's enough fish in the pond. Go make friends with someone else. So, but I think a lot of young people coming out of high school, especially, there's almost like an unspoken word that you need to change to fit the social circle and the professional world, and you need to be able to flick that switch, right? I just don't know if I buy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I can see a few people have just tuned in. I've just lost my sound. Can you still hear me?
No.
Okay.
It's that white one.
I can, hang with us, guys. I can see a few people have just joined in. There we go. Try that one more time. I can see that a few people have just joined in, so I'm keen to get some thoughts from people watching. Flick us a message, either directly or on the group. Let us know professionalism versus non-professionalism. Where does that change? And do you think it should change? Do you think, depending on your situation, you change yourself in some form of way, whether it's the way you speak, the way you talk, the way you dress? Good friend of ours, Robert, obviously with Switch. You're not going to get him in a suit. If he's meeting the Prime Minister, he's not getting in a suit. He doesn't give a fuck. Right? He's wearing his black shirt and his black jeans. If he's out with the boys, he's probably wearing the same thing. Right? So, yeah. It's interesting. Is it a sense of self-confidence, maybe? Anyway, let us know. We're going to move on to the next topic. Next topic I want to talk to you about. So, actually, Grayson, you've got this. Being a game changer, being an entrepreneur, being a go-getter, somebody who's very passionate about changing the world and changing the way people see the world. You've received a bit of hate online, right? A lot of people have naturally, as that happens, as you start to climb and you start to get somewhere, people naturally want to hate, right? Or they want to pull on all the bad things you've done, and they want to go, oh, what about when you did this in year 2, right? Because it's just the way people are.
This is the way they do it.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like, I don't know if you saw, I did the Instagram post a couple of weeks ago. I wouldn't normally do that, but I sort of felt like, it's time to sort of put a full stop in that chapter and just say, look, you can say whatever you want to say. It doesn't mean anything to me. They're empty to me. It's just water under the bridge. And if anything, it just fuels me to keep going and go harder and stronger. But for me, end of last year was quite a tough time for me, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
But I was just lucky I have some great friends that were there who I could vent it out to, talk to, and they were always there for me. So I think it's important to talk to people, for sure. Everyone says it, but it's really true. Talk to people. I got countless emails and messages and that from people who disagree when I posted that article. I got a lot of hate from that, and to be honest, if that amount of people are taking the effort to troll me or whatever you want to call it, I'm sort of okay with that. It means that I'm making a ripple in something, and annoying someone, it means it must be making a difference. But yeah, I've got pretty thick skin, so I don't really get too upset about anything. But it can be hard. It can be hard getting a lot of that sort of hate mail type of stuff.
And for people that don't follow Hunter and haven't seen it, I do have it saved here, and if you don't mind, I'll read a bit out of it.
Yeah, sure.
So where does it start? I'm sick and tired of seeing your pointless, stupid, and non-important posts on Instagram. No one gives a fuck about what your ego has to say. At this stage, you'll never amount to anything and be successful because you're just a typical egotistical millennial prick. How does that truly affect someone? You were just talking about it before, but deep down, does that when you read it, were you like, what the fuck is this?
When I first read it and my first thought, I was like, wow, we're literally a couple of weeks into the new decade and we're already getting it. And I wasn't shocked or anything like that. But I have to say I was pretty taken back by that one. It's the first time I've had something as bad as that, I guess, and as detailed and
It's a lot, right? It's intense.
That was a very ruthless.
Yeah, it's
anonymous
an intense statement.
Yeah, I think it's very naive to say it doesn't affect you at all.
No, it does affect me, definitely.
I think it does. I think it affects everybody, right? And we've all been through times where somebody said something, or somebody's done something, or you've tried to do something in the thought that it was going to be good, and you were putting good out in the world, and you receive bad. And it does affect you. What are the talk to people?
Mm-hmm.
What else can you do? Because I don't know the answer to this at all.
Well, I don't think anyone really has the answer to it, but
is tall poppy real in New Zealand?
Nope.
It's gone. Where's the fire alarm?
Yeah.
Tall poppy's real?
Yeah,
alive and well?
Explain to me what tall poppy is.
I think it's different in different situations. I've had a few conversations with people about it, and I can remember when Jake he talked about it in a live interview, and I thought he did really well talking about it. And yeah, I think New Zealanders have such a bad. We're really good at celebrating sporting success, but when it comes to our business people, like we've got the Mowbrays and that, they received a lot of heat when Nick got the
EYC Entrepreneur of the Year.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He got a lot of heat. And why do we have to look at all the negative side of things? Why don't use that as an opportunity to celebrate and inspire other people and go, look, that is so cool. Someone who came from nothing, and and that's where the Mowbrays are today. I think that's what it is.
I think Nick's a very good example about he's definitely talked about the hate he has got, and it affects him, but not to a level where he pulls himself down. And I think the question with that is, do entrepreneurs or sporting legends or people doing good in New Zealand cut themselves down before anyone gets to them and cuts them down?
So you mean, do they cut themselves?
Do they cut themselves before?
Do they cut themselves
the hate
down
comes?
and kind of humble themselves before somebody else gives them the opportunity, so that when that hate does arrive, Israel Adesanya is a perfect example. He has almost prepared himself for the hate before he got to that point, knowing it was coming, so when it came, it didn't affect him, because he was like, fuck you, I already know what you're going to say about me, and it ain't going to work, buddy. And we saw a speech at the Halberg Awards. Yeah, it's interesting. I think the momentum's shifting. I think New Zealand's actually getting better at celebrating the wins and celebrating our successful, global leaders and global change makers and things. I think we do a really bad job at the reverse tall poppy, and those that are at the top aren't lowering the ladder enough and giving the hand up for those that really need it. And I'm not talking, getting a speech and go, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Like, okay, we get it, we can do it. How do we do it? Help me get to it. you know, and we don't have enough of our legends and our stars really giving some tangible things that are helping people get that helping hand. We've got a few. Don't get me wrong. We've got a few.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've got nearly enough helping the most underprivileged and most disadvantaged people in our community and going, like you said, it doesn't matter where you come from, where you're born, who your family is. Here's a hand, grab it, and I'm going to launch you up. I think we do a particularly poor job at that.
Yeah, I agree. I'd have to agree.
How do we solve that? Is that a case of the people at the top throwing the ladder down? Or is it a case of, as I'm climbing the ladder, you're coming next to me? So we climb together.
I think if you talk about it as just like, you know, launching you up, that you're almost missing a whole lot of steps there, because I can't remember who said it, but someone said it. I think it might have been Elon Musk, I think. He said that, you know, he brings young people in and he grows with them and he teaches them and he learns with them and he learns from them and they're all growing together. I think that's a better process than just going, yeah, you're really cool, boom, let's throw you up to the top. You learn the real core values that way, I think. And yeah, I think, yeah, you learn the real stuff.
It's dangerous to be thrown up, right?
Yeah.
Using this as the metaphor, it's very dangerous. And I think, now I'm going to turn tables to Grayson here and ask you a question. In a way, we were both thrown, right? We were both grabbed. Yep, you've got some potential. Cool. Yank. I'm going to throw you to the top.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you every opportunity. I'm going to get you to meet all the people, give you all the money, do everything. How did that affect you?
At the start, it was definitely like a shock, I guess, going into a world where entrepreneurialism is so hyped. I think there's a lot of people trying to help you in the entrepreneur space, and they'll do anything to help you. Working with Unfiltered as an example, where you rocking around in a 2019 BMW with twin turbos and it's worth 150 grand and you're 18. It kind of goes to your head pretty quickly. It's a bit of fun, and yeah, I think different people react differently to it and handle it differently.
How do you not let it get to your head? Because that's the hard thing, is how do you really go, you know, on all of these things and go, how do you not let it? Because if it's not to your head, tall poppy syndrome will affect you. If you just think, hey, I'm a guy, I'm doing some cool shit, blah, 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 and somebody sends you hate, you're just like, I'm content enough on what I'm doing, I don't really give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, it'll affect you in some way. Yeah. But if you're really content with the work you're doing and you're like, I'm doing some cool shit, and somebody goes, oh, you're a loser and your work's shit, you're like, cool. I don't really care what you have to say. But it's how do you not let it get to your head?
I think it's an interesting question, that, because you sort of look at it and go, there are people out there who you can tell you it does go to their head, and I think
I can start naming them if you want.
Yeah. I think what's important would be, once you're up there, realizing that you're up there and using that to help others, I think.
How do you know when you're there? Because I think everybody's definition of there is going to be different, right? My definition to I'm there will probably be different to your definition of I'm there. Not letting it get to your head is probably going to be the hardest part of it, part of the journey, I'd say. I think from my point of view, it comes back to values. If you've got some very core, strong values that you set from the beginning and you never budge on them, I think that's a very good start.
Yeah.
And there's some very clear priorities in your life, that those are the priorities in my life right now. I think that also sets you on it. Yeah. I look at Israel Adesanya as a very good role model for our young people in New Zealand. He's very much himself. He doesn't care what you think. He's got enough contentness in himself to go, I am who I am, and that's who I am, and you don't like it? It's tough shit, buddy. He's got some very clear values that he stands by and some very clear priorities. You know, family's one for him. Keeps him humbled, keeps him grounded. Strength, integrity, all these clear core values. And he gets hate and he's like, I don't care. I'm doing my job. I'm doing it well. Knocking people out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. You need some very strong, and it goes back to what we started this conversation with around the education system, right? Is allowing we don't allow our young people enough freedom to really discover who they are and understand those values, those morals, those core, you know, priorities in their life, and say this is what I'm. And those things change; they change every day, but having the self-awareness to know they're changing and adapting them as you move, I think sets you up in a very, very clear, stead way.
You were Unfiltered. Your values changed from start to finish, didn't they? Where did they kind of start? What values did you have at the start?
Oh, when I started Unfiltered, it was, you know, I had some that stayed the same. I wanted to help business owners. I wanted to help entrepreneurs. When I started, I wanted to make a lot of money. Being honest, I was 18. I wanted to make fucking shit tons of money. I wanted to be rich. I wanted the glory. When I started, I wanted to have the fancy Instagram, have the nice cars, have the nice house, have the rich fancy friends, go to the fancy parties. Who doesn't want that at one point in your life, right? Who doesn't want to say, oh, look at me, da 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 da, I'm so cool, right? I mean, some people forever want it, but
it changed toward the end, though, didn't it?
By the time I left, I was like,
That's the side of you I saw. That changed.
Yeah, I didn't want the money anymore. It wasn't worth it because I was compromising on some of my core values and core priorities in my life. My time, my freedom, my ability to think for myself. You know, some of those core things that I didn't want to budge on. And I was budging on, and it took me a while to realize it, and some very, very close friends of mine. And I went, the money, the fame, the fancy friends, the fancy title, all that shit just doesn't matter unless I've got these. And now I've never been happier. I've got my freedom, I've got my time, I've got my ability to think. I've got the opportunity to go out and find what I want to do and pursue it and start new projects. And fuck, the happiest I've been since preschool.
How's yours developed over time, Hunter?
Yeah, it sort of goes up and down, I think. I've never really like had this sort of idea that, oh, I'm really cool and that, you know. There are times where you sort of like, when I go back to my school, a lot of the staff and that there, they look at me differently now because they know that I know a lot of people and all that, and so they put you up on the pedestal that way, which I don't really like actually, because nothing's changed. Yeah, I know these people and I meet with them and that, but I'm still the same person.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
What's dangerous.
When other people start to put you on this pedestal.
Yeah.
I had a conversation about this the other day. The best thing I think anybody can do, I honestly believe the best thing that I could do for you as a friend is not put you on a pedestal. Treat you the exact same. You're just Hunter. You're not Hunter that meets with the Prime Minister. You're not Hunter that goes to National Party events. You're not Hunter that, you know, does this and does that. You're just Hunter.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of my exact person who's watching right now, and he knows who he is. He's that exact person.
Yeah. And I've got someone like that. Perfect. My form teacher from high school. Yaz. You know, I always, you know, I catch up with her once every couple of months or whatever, hang out, grab a coffee, whatever. I'm hanging out with her next week, actually, doing some work with her. And, you know, I'll walk in, I'll be like, holy shit, look what I'm doing. I'm making X amount of dollars and I'm doing this cool thing. And look at this event. She's just like, I don't give a fuck. She's like, you're just Matt and I knew you when you were nothing. And that's how I'm.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, you know, like you're just.
Well done.
The same fucking person. Well done. High five. And those people are the ones that humble you the most, and you need them around you. You know, all my friends are like that. All my friends are like, high five.
Same.
Do you want a gold medal? Oh, no. Well, shut the fuck up because I don't care.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're doing well.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate. Let's go have a drink. Let's go have a nice dinner. But high five. What else do you want from me?
Yeah.
You know? Because I think that is the most dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Is when we, especially within friends.
Mm.
I had a conversation with one of my good friends the other day, and he said he saw a friend from high school in the supermarket, and he said it was the strangest feeling when somebody you were best friends with at high school, you start talking to them, and they have put you on this pedestal without telling you, and they can't hold that conversation anymore because they see you differently. And you're like, I'm the same person. And they're like, oh, you're doing really well and your business is going really well. Wow, you must be having so much fun and making so much money.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Oh, I'm okay, I'm at uni.
Yeah,
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Mm.
What the fuck is this shit? You know?
Mm.
I think it's so dangerous. Have you experienced that?
I don't think I really have. I think
you have.
really.
I think you put yourself on a pedestal.
Oh, like daily, but
Not in a bad way.
Not like
It's not a bad thing. I put
There's-
myself on a pedestal.
there's obviously
You
like
got to.
You've got to, right? Everybody goes through that period where you're like, holy fuck, I am hot shit. I am hot stuff.
Hmm.
Of course we do. We like to do it more often than not. But it's fucking dangerous. And I think we need to make sure that we're, as young people, not encouraging that. I don't think. I celebrate the wins. Celebrate the wins. When you do something amazing, or you sign a new contract, or you do something really good, or you get a new job, or whatever it is, celebrate it. Go out for dinner, have a drink, have fun. But don't hold on to that for weeks and weeks
Just
and
carries
weeks.
on and on.
And be like a year later, oh my
Yeah.
God, remember that? No.
Yeah.
Cool, we celebrated, we're happy, now go for your next one.
Yeah.
You're still the same fucking person.
and on the opposite side of that, back to Tall Poppy is, why do people keep the losses a secret?
Mm.
Why don't they talk about the losses more? We have talked about this on the show before, but I'm keen to get your take on that, Hunter. Is why, why do people keep the losses down under?
I think the people who like to keep that down, hidden, are the people who want to be seen as just the perfect person, I'm up here, I'm really great. And the people who do show that are the people who want to show other people like us, look, I did some shit, I fucked up here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. Or, if you do, doesn't matter. You're young, we can keep doing it and grow and grow and grow. That's where I think the difference is there.
It's like a ladder, right?
Yeah.
We're all starting on 0. And every time you got a win, you go up 1. Every time you lose, you go down 1, right? And we want to be on the pedestal. We're celebrating our wins. Hey, look at me, climb a rung. Hey, look at me, climb a rung. Hey, look at me, climb a rung.
Yeah, naturally.
But fuck, I don't want to drop a rung.
No.
So I'm just not going to tell anyone I failed. And then I'll stay at that one. And then I'll get another win, right? And like you said, people like us, we're like, fuck it, we all make mistakes. Who cares? I'm not perfect. Show the mistake, go down the rung, and stop everybody else dropping that rung.
Yeah.
Let's give everybody else a better chance of going up a rung. And it's exactly like you said. It's important, I think, just as important to celebrate the losses as it is to celebrate the wins.
I think it's more important, personally, to celebrate the losses, because that way you're showing other people that, this is really hard. Like you're saying, being an entrepreneur is really hard. The hardest shit you'll ever do. And when you see a lot of, like the Mowbrays and that, they would have fucked up. They would have
Many
done things.
times.
Many times. And I think Nick's been kind of open about a lot of them too. So it sort of makes it more realistic to us that, it's possible to get up there. It's not going to be a smooth, easy street that, it's going to be a good time all the way, because it won't be. And see, I think telling your losses and that are a lot more important than your wins.
That's good.
I agree. Couple last questions. I want to touch on something completely off topic. This is completely off topic, left field. What's the best segue into this? So we chatted over lunch, caught up, hadn't seen you for a long time. So it was good to kind of hear about what you're doing and stuff. And, you mentioned you went to R&V. Rhythm and Vines. Have you been to R&V?
No, not yet. This year, hopefully.
Where have you been? You've been to other festivals?
Yeah, I went to Hidden Valley, Joe's Farm. I went to the one last Saturday at Ascension in Matakana.
And you've been to R&V and Bay Dreams?
Mm-hmm.
Any others?
No.
God, I'm an old man. I've been to neither. I've been to none.
It's not your scene.
God, I don't do festivals.
Definitely not your scene.
No way. Too much loud music and flashing lights.
Yeah.
New Zealand, I think, I could be very wrong here, but I feel like New Zealand has a particularly bad festival scene. I haven't been, so I'm just going off people I've talked to, but a particularly bad festival scene in terms of drugs and alcohol. Would you say that's true or false? I could be
True
completely
and
wrong.
closely followed by violence in the festival.
Really?
10 minutes into I don't even know what it was called. The one in Ascension winery last Saturday. Probably 10 minutes into the mosh fight.
Really?
10 minutes.
Why? Are they just so
There was one
burned
at
out of their
Daydreams
mind?
too, pretty
Yeah.
early on, and there was a huge big brawl with heaps of people.
Yeah.
Really? Why?
I think it's the drugs.
Why do
the
people
alcohol.
fight?
Yeah.
This is okay. We're going into this topic now because the other one
Yeah.
we'll talk about later. Why do people fight? God, I don't get it.
It's got to be an ego thing. I reckon when you're that, when you're in a situation where there's a lot of other people that close to you and that personal in a mosh, dancing, being yourself, and if someone doesn't accept you but you're okay with what you're doing, they have a negative thing to you.
I mean, not even in festivals. Why do people fight in general? Why do people turn to physical violence?
Probably because it's easy, I guess.
Mm.
It's easier to just throw a fist.
I really don't know. Like, I'm someone who's never been a physical fighter. I'll play
Yeah,
fight with
likewise.
friends. But I'm not somebody who's going to go out, start a scrap with someone and
No.
punch them in the head.
Mm.
I'm just like, what the fuck would I do
I
that
would
for?
avoid all costs to do
I'm
that.
just like, why? What value do I gain from that? I'm just
Yeah.
hurting my hand. Why don't I just make you look like a dickhead instead?
Yeah,
Because I know
yeah.
I can do that with my words.
Yeah.
But I really don't understand that.
No.
That's something that's puzzled me for a very long time is why do people... If you're listening to this at any point, please, please, please message me on Facebook or LinkedIn or email me or find my contact details somewhere and tell me why do people fight. If you're a fighter, tell me why do you fight? I'm really, really confused.
Yeah.
Fun?
Oh, if there's a fight in the mosh, you're going to have a look, aren't you?
No.
Yeah, I know you. Hunter might.
I'm just not interested.
It's interesting. It's interesting, right? Like I was with the boys on Saturday, and the fight turned out. You're like, oh shit, let's go.
See,
Let's
it's
go.
weird.
Let's
It's
go.
weird because if it's a professional like
Mm.
UFC or like boxing or something,
Yeah.
I'll pay money to watch that.
Mm.
I flew over to Melbourne to watch the Adesanya Whittaker fight
Mm.
because I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to watch Whittaker get beat the shit out of." But if I was walking down the road down Vic Park or anywhere, I'd be like,
Mm.
if I was at the Domain, I'd be like,
Yeah.
Mm.
you know, it's just like,
What's the point?
why? What are you doing? Like, you're not gaining any. What? You knock him out. What happens now?
Yeah.
Now you just watch him. Like I don't know.
Mm.
There's something there that is missing for me. But anyway, I think we've almost come to the end of the time, haven't we?
Yeah. Looking to wrap up now. And Summer Classic, that was the name of it. I just looked at my emails from the chick I bought the tickets off. Summer Classic. Awesome time. Awesome time.
Cool. Okay. Well, we're going to wrap up. We always finish Podcast Hunter with our big 333. So it's because it's Monday, we do it from the week before. So it's your 3 biggest wins from last week, your 3 biggest losses from last week, and your 3 goals for this week. Hit us.
3 wins for last week was... Well, one would have been catching up with a lot of people from government side of things on Friday at Mark Moore's funeral. Sad situation to do it, but still. Moving into halls of residence at uni, that was good. Another one would have been... Shit. 3 wins, I think. Getting the message from you to the
Nice.
podcast.
Yeah.
That was a win.
We'll take that. We'll take
That
that.
was a win.
Awesome.
3 losses from last week would have been actually again for the Friday thing, because Mike Moore was a do with old boy, and he was former Prime Minister, WTO General of the States. He was huge. And the loss from that is that no one really talked about how he was successful, and no one talked about that to a lot of the students there now. I thought that was a loss. another loss or 2 more losses. Jeez, heads up next time. On this
Yeah.
It can be simple. It doesn't need to be big. Just something simple.
I've dropped my phone, so I've got this learn phone.
Yeah.
That's a loss. And third loss. Jesus.
It's quite hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is actually quite hard. I'm glad that no one has actually put me on the spot with these, because I probably couldn't do it right now.
Third loss would have to be.
That's right.
3 goals.
We'll do 2. 3 goals for next
Three
week.
goals for next week.
For
Yeah,
this
for
week.
this
This week.
For this week, to secure a couple of meetings with some people is one of them. That's one of my goals to get done. Second goal is to sort out my flat schedule system down at our flat.
Very important thing to do, isn't it,
Yeah.
Matt?
What?
Living with Matt is a bit of fun.
A bit of fun.
Easier than living with you.
Mm.
Anyway.
And then the third goal. Actually, the third goal for me is to actually not be on the phone as much as I normally am.
Detoxing.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. Yeah, I barely ever on my phone anymore.
Yeah, I'm probably on it I'm actually
You're
probably
actually
on it
on
quite
it
a
a lot,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Check the screen time. It'll be fucking
Screen
24
time.
hours a day.
Screen time for today. Oh, how do I do it?
Anyway, we'll do that off camera. Anyway,
3 hours.
3 hours today.
Today.
And it's only 2 o'clock. Okay.
I did a bit of I actually did a bit of work on my phone today, so
Right.
that's why it's quite hard.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 5, and thank you, Hunter, for coming along. Really appreciate you taking
Awesome
some time
chat.
out of your
Thanks for
day.
asking.
Great little chat, and look forward to seeing you next week for episode 6 with our special guest, Liam Malone.
Yo.
So we'll see you then. Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much.